Welcome to another video lesson from the Jelly Roll Club. Hey quilty friends, in this episode I will show you how I made my cute little penny penguin placemats to go with the table runner of the month for January. Alright, let's get sewing. First, you're going to want to download and print the handout that is on the website, and Penny the Penguin is the last page. She's the bonus content. You're going to take Penny the Penguin and you're going to trace her onto fusible web. There is a paper side, so you're going to draw it on the paper side, not on the shiny side, because that's what you fuse to the back of your fabric. And so once you have drawn Penny the Penguin, you will set her aside and you will carefully press the backing. This backing has already been washed but not starched. And so I'm going to stack my fabric together and I'm going to give it a good press with some steam. Press it completely to make sure that all of your wrinkles are out. If you notice you have some stubborn lines, you can always press again with a little bit of steam or a spritzer bottle. Because I'm doing a mitered corner, I'm going to need a total of 2 jelly roll strips. And a jelly roll strip is 2.5 inches wide by width of fabric. So I'm going to open this up, and because I want a mitered corner, I need to make sure that when I cut this, that I have at least the same width extending out beyond my center piece. Hey, I'm going to speed up the video to save some time, but in this segment I am cutting my mitered strips. So that means my border strips are going to extend at least 2.5 inches out on all sides. I'm going to straighten out my edges and I'm going to show you how to sew a mitered corner. But first, let me get all my pieces ready, okay? Okay, so before I attach the mitered borders, I just made sure that all of my sides had nice straight 90-degree angles, because in order for my mitered borders to fit on there correctly, all 4 of those corners need to have perfect 90-degree angles. Once I had my middle section nice and straight on all 4 sides, I was ready for the next step. Okay, I'm going to speed the video up a little bit, but just as I said before, I'm just cutting those and making sure that my side pieces overlap by at least 2.5 inches on either side. Then I'm going to fold them all in half to find the middle, because I'm going to use this to make sure that I have these pieces sewn on straight in the next step. Next, I'm going to mark a start and stop mark for each of my sides, which means I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure 1/4 inch away from either side of those. I'm going to put a little dot there, and that is going to be my start and stop point when I am sewing these sides onto the background. My next step for adding miters involves folding it in half in both directions and finding the center of each of those backgrounds. I'm going to go ahead and pin those mitered borders that I want to put on this little placemat. I'm going to pin in the middle and work my way out, making sure that I don't pin beyond that little dot that I drew on the other side, because I'm going to sew from this side from dot to dot. Okay, just like I said before, I'm going to start on that dot that I marked. So I'm going to take my needle and drop it exactly on that dot. That's 1/4 inch away from both of the sides. And I'm going to stitch forward and then back stitch just a hair. Take my pins out to make sure I don't break a needle or damage my machine. I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch away from the edge all the way down the side until I get to the next dot that I marked on the bottom. Once I get to the bottom, I'm going to stop and then I'm going to back stitch just a little bit before I trim my threads. I'm going to sew all 4 sides exactly like I did the first side, and then I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like in the next step. After you have sewn all 4 corners, inspect your stitching, making sure that all of your stitching is nice and smooth. You're going to press the center and you're ready for the next step. Pinch the 2 corners and line up one side of the binding with the other side, making sure those edges are even. And it forms a 45-degree line along the center part of your placemat. Next, I found my ruler after I folded these with the edges even. This is my 45-degree line, so that means that I need to identify the 45-degree line on my ruler, and I will lay it on that mitered binding, and then I will make sure that I'm using this 45-degree line and the edge of my ruler down here at the bottom to mark a nice straight 45-degree sewing line. So from where that stitching ends right there, I'm going to just draw a line, and then I'm going to sew from that stitching out to the end on all 4 corners to finish my perfect miters. Start sewing at the stitching line and sew straight out to the corner along that 45-degree line. I always fold my seams to one side, then I give it a good press to make sure it's flat. Then I trim the excess fabric from the back, leaving a 1/2 inch seam. And then I remove a dog ear to make sure it has a perfect 90-degree angle in that corner. Once you have sewn all 4 corners, go ahead and finish trimming any corners you haven't trimmed yet, and give the entire placemat a nice good press, being careful not to distort your mitered border. And so once you have done that, you're ready for the next step, which is adding the applique. If you would like detailed instruction on how to create a fusible applique, I suggest going to the Gnome of the Month series and watching month 1 for a complete lesson on how to do fusible applique. Hey, while you're here, why don't you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you're always notified whenever we drop new content on this channel. Okay, quilty friends, all that's left to do now is to add the details to Penny the Penguin's little face and her bow tie. I will fuse that down, and I will prepare this placemat for some fancy stitching, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what you create. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and thank you for watching another video lesson from the Jelly Roll Club.